Excel Tutorial 12, pages 746 through 753. At the bottom of page 746, of course, after you've read Preparing the Final Workbook Version and Setting Document Properties. Step number 1, if you don't have Financial Report open, go ahead and open that up. All right, on the ribbon, click File and Info. It's actually already on Info, okay? The info screen displays information about the workbook. Step number 3. At the bottom of the right pane, click Show All Properties. Okay, do you see it right there? All of the document properties appear in the right pane. Here. Step number 4. In the Properties section, there's Properties right here. Next to the title property, click Add a Title. Okay. So next to the title, see where it says add a title right there? Type Annual Financial Report. Next to the tags property, see right here where it says tags? Click next to it and type Stockholders, semicolon, Yearly Meeting. Notice that you typed a semicolon to separate the two tags. Okay, so it's Stockholders. Always, always, always check your spelling on this. And Yearly Meeting. All right, stockholders, absolutely, I'm checking mine. You've got to make sure it's perfect. All right, at the top of page 747, step number 6, next to the comments property, right there, you click your add comments and then you type final draft of the annual report to be presented at the April meeting in New Orleans, and then you have to check your spelling. Okay, go ahead and do that. Okay, final draft. Wish you were here to read this to me. April meeting. Ooh, nice spelling. Orleans. All right. Don't want a meeting. Okay, so check your spelling. Make sure everything's correct, and when it is, go ahead and move on to step number 7. In the status property, click to the add text and type final draft. Step number 8, in the categories property, click add a category, type financial statements. Step number 9, next to the subject property, type Plush Pets Financial Report. And step number 10, next to the company property, we want Plush Pets. Okay, first thing I want you to do right now before you go on is go back, check all your spelling, and make sure it's all correct, okay? And you can take a look at what you have on your screen and compare it to figure 12-13 and make sure that you have everything set correctly. And when you've done that, we'll move to step number 11. In the Related People section, next to the author property, click Add an Author. Type your name. Okay, read that little paragraph right there at the bottom of 747. To add a custom department property, on the info screen, which is where we are, at the top of the right pane, click the Properties button. And then click Advanced Properties. The Financial Report Properties dialog box opens. Turn the page to 748. Step number 2, click the Custom tab. You enter the custom properties for the workbook here. The name box includes some common properties that you might want to add to a workbook. Step number 3, in the name box, click Department. Department property is selected and the data type is set as text. You do not need to change this. Okay, you see this right here, it's type, it says text. Step number 4, in the value box, it's right there, type, click in it, type finance. Check your spelling. Okay, click the add button. The department property is added to the properties box. See figure 12-14. Okay, check there so you can see it right here. You can check everything, make sure it's the same. Step number 6, click the OK button to close the dialog box and return to the info screen. Okay, you need to read about inspecting a workbook on the bottom of page 748. When you've done that, we'll move to the top of page 749 to inspect the financial report workbook. Step number 1, on the info screen, click the Check Issues button. Okay, we're on the info screen. We need the Check Issues button. So we're going to click that one right there. Then select Inspect Document. Step number 2, you're going to get, your warning box. Make sure you read it completely. Okay? Go ahead and click Yes. The Document Inspector dialog box opens. There's this Document Inspector. Step number 3, make sure all the checkboxes are selected. Okay, we're going to scroll through and make sure everybody has a check mark. And if they don't have a check mark, put one in. The Document Inspector checks the content of the workbook for hidden properties or personal information in all of the selected categories. The inspection result appears in the dialog box. See figure 12-15. Okay, so read everything that's on this page. You have a little paragraph to read, and we'll move down to the bottom to review the hidden worksheet and then remove it. Okay? Step number 1. Someone forgot to click her Inspect button. That would be step number 3. See, I always skip a step. Click Inspect. All right, then you get your dialog box that warns you that something's up. Okay? Honestly, I need a keeper. To review the hidden worksheet and remove it. Okay? And we can, by the way, you can scroll down, look through all this, and when you do, you're going to see down here that says there's a hidden worksheet. Okay, so you can scroll up. You can see it says the document properties has personal information. Scroll down and you'll see there's a hidden worksheet. Number of hidden worksheets found is 1. Did you know you had a hidden worksheet? Because you do. So now you know. Okay, so step number 1, click the Close button. Step number 2, right-click any sheet tab in the workbook and then click Unhide. Doesn't matter which one you go to, just right-click it, okay, and go to Unhide. And look, you get this nice little dialog box that comes up. The Unhide dialog box opens, displaying a list of all the hidden sheets in the workbook. In this case, the only hidden sheet is the Notes worksheet. Turn to page 750. Step number 3, with the Note sheet name selected, okay, it's in blue, so it's selected, click the OK button. And look at that, there it is. The Notes worksheet appears between the financial summary and the income statement worksheets. The worksheet contains Chayla's to-do list for the project, which is not relevant for colleagues and does not need to be part of the final report. Rather than just deleting the Notes worksheet, you'll hide it again and then delete it using the Document Inspector. Step number 4, right-click the Notes sheet and then click Hide. See it right there? The worksheet is again hidden from view. On the ribbon, click File. You don't have to click Info because it's already selected. If yours doesn't say Info right here, go ahead and just click Info. 6. On the Info screen, click the Check for Issues button. Okay, check for issues. Then click Inspect Document. Step number 7. After you've read all this, click the Yes button. The Document Inspector dialog box opens with all the categories selected. Step number 8. click the Inspect button to rerun the document inspector. Step number 9, scroll down to the hidden worksheet. Then click the Remove All button. The hidden worksheet is deleted from the workbook. Click the Close button to close the document inspector. Okay, now there is a very important note on 750 right after step 10. It says, note that the document inspector will not remove comments, annotations, document properties. Okay, you need to read all that and understand what the document inspector will remove and what it will not. Okay, so go ahead and read the bottom of page 750. When you get finished with that, we'll move up to the top of page 751. Shayla wants to know whether the financial report workbook will be compatible with older versions of Excel. Okay, this is actually very, very important because you don't want to create a worksheet in the latest version of the software and then someone who's using it has an older version, you know, like their work in 2010. So you actually, this is very important to learn how to do in the real world. You'd be surprised how many businesses still run old software. To run the compatibility checker on the financial report workbook, on the ribbon, click the File tab to return to the info screen. Okay, File, we're on our info screen. Click the Check for Issues button, but this time we're going to check compatibility. See, it's the last one right there, check compatibility. The compatibility checker dialog box opens, displaying the results of the compatibility test. The compatibility checker finds only a minor issue involving formatting changes between the current document and versions of Excel 97, 2000, 2002, and 2003. Shayla does not see a need to make changes to the workbook at this time. Okay, so you ran the compatibility check, you read it, and then you decide, you know what, it's minor loss. Okay, so you're just going to go ahead and say we're not going to worry about it and click OK. Now, at the bottom of page 751, there's a very short paragraph. Read that. Again, this is something really important that you need to know for the future. All right, 752. Read about protecting a workbook and encryption. And then we're going to move on to encrypt the workbook. Save the workbook as financial report final. Okay, so financial report final. What we're doing is we're creating pretty much a little fail-safe just in case something goes wrong. All right. On the ribbon, click the File tab and click Info if necessary. So File, and we have Info right here. Step number 3, click the Protect Workbook button. And then click the Encrypt with Password button. Okay, if you mess this up and you make a typo in here or do something, I cannot help you, I cannot fix it, it's a done deal. Okay, that's why passwords are a little dangerous. They're necessary though, it's very necessary. You need to read this right here. It says if you lose or forget the password, it cannot be recovered. You have to keep a list of passwords and their corresponding document names in a safe place, and passwords are case sensitive, okay? So just know right here, right now, if you mess this up and make a misspelling and do anything funky and then say, Ms. Osborne, I can't open my file, I can't open it either. There's nothing we can do and it'll be dead and you'll have to do it over. Okay, that being said, in the password box, type plush pets in all lowercase letters. I am looking at my keyboard. Okay, and then click OK. Now, step number 5, it's going to ask you to re-enter the password to make sure it's exactly the same. PLUSHPETS. Okay, when you have it all typed in correctly, click OK. Now, save and close the workbook and then reopen it. Okay, so you want to save it, you want to close it, and then you want to turn right back around and reopen it. and it's going to ask you for the password. This is where we find out if you typed it in correctly. Type it in and hit OK. Hope for the best. Yes, mine worked. All right. So you learned about using passwords. You know I'm not wild about them, but they are necessary in the real world, and you need to learn how to do them correctly, and always, always keep a file that tells you what all of your passwords are, because you think you'll remember it, but 6 months from now you may not. All right, let's read briefly about marking a workbook as final. So read that, it's very short. To mark Shayla's workbook as final, on the ribbon, click the File tab, and we need our info screen. So File, and we're on Info, right? Click the Protect Workbook button and click Mark as Final. A dialog box opens indicating that the workbook will be marked as final and then saved. This workbook will be marked final and then saved. Step number 3, click the OK button. A second dialog box opens indicating that the file has been marked as final and its status property is now final. So you need to learn to read these boxes. Read all the way through it. Step number 4, click OK. A read-only version of the workbook is opened, as indicated by Read Only in the title bar. Right there. The message bar also indicates that the workbook has been marked as final. Marked as final. Click a blank cell in the active worksheet and try to enter something. Confirm that you can't do it. You can't. If you type, nothing will happen because it's been marked as final, and we have not clicked edit anyway. Go ahead and close the workbook, and that's the end of this little video, and you're ready to move on to the next one.